Reddit hub story with mr.greatstory. What is the strangest mystery that is still unsolved? The Overtown Bridge. It's a bridge in Scotland where dogs always unexplainably jump off. It's very strange and nobody knows for certain why they do this. Dogs who survived reportedly walked back up and jumped off again. They even had to put up a warning sign to keep your dog on a leash and to watch them. A lot of theorists say maybe it's because of certain scents or animals down below, but most people have disagreed with this theory. It's fucking weird. Edit. In reality, I've done more research thanks to some comments, and it seems like people have romanticized this to make it creepier than it actually is. I don't know exactly what to believe, since there's so much misinformation out there, but I'll just believe the articles who've done the most research for now. They say it was most likely not hundreds of dogs, because they can't find reports of that many jumping off as the legend says. It was only around 6. So it's likely that I was misinformed, like so many other people were, and it's not actually a huge phenomenon lol. But it's still sad and a bit weird that 6 dogs jumped off. The Salish Seafoot or the Mad Axemen of New Orleans. The Salish Seafoot are the approximately 20 dismembered feet found in or around British Columbia or Washington, USA. The feet sometimes are found still inside of shoes. No one knows how they got there or where they came from. Over the course of the last 13 years, the authorities have ruled out foul play. The Mad Axeman of New Orleans ran rampant in 1918 and 1919. He murdered 6 people, usually those of Italian descent, with axes or straight razors. In March of 1919, he sent a lengthy letter from hottest hell that was pretty nonsensical. But the most relevant paragraphs read, "Now, to be exact, at 12:15 earthly time, next Tuesday night, I'm going to pass over New Orleans. In my infinite mercy, I'm going to make a little proposition to you people. Here it is. I'm very fond of jazz music, and I swear by all the devils in the nether regions, that every person shall be spared in whose home a jazz band is in full swing at the time I have just mentioned. If everyone has a jazz band going, well, then, so much the better for you people. One thing is certain, and that is, that some of your people who do not jazz it out on that specific Tuesday night, if there be any, will get the axe." There were no murders that night, because every dance hall in Nala was filled to capacity. The whereabouts of the last Gestapo chief Heinrich Müller. The last verified sighting of him was in Berlin roughly 3 days before it fell. He had stated he knew full well what the Russians did to prisoners, and he had no intentions of being captured. As chief of the Gestapo, he more than likely had access to foreign documents as well as ways to replicate them. Both the CIA and the KGB spent time looking for him, but no trace has ever been found. The Tamim Shad case, also known as the mystery of the Somerton Man, is an unsolved case of an unidentified man found dead at 6:30 am, the 1st of December 1948, on the Somerton Park beach, just south of Adelaide, South Australia. The case is named after the Persian phrase Tamim Shad, meaning ended or finished, which was printed on a scrap of paper found months later in the fob pocket of the man's trousers. The scrap had been torn from the final page of a copy of Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, authored by 12th century poet Omar Khayyam. Tamim was misspelled as Tamin in many early reports, and this error has often been repeated, leading to confusion about the name in the media. This is my favorite weird and barely known one. Back in 2013, an unknown group assaulted a power substation in California. By all appearances it was pretty sophisticated. Scouted firing positions, all casings wiped of prints. They targeted transformers, so they'd take time to overheat before triggering any alarms. Also knew exactly when the police would arrive. No suspect or motive to this day. They also cut some fiber optic cables in a vault nearby. Conspiracy types think it was a dry run by Russia or possibly China to see how effective an attack like that might be. The suicide of Ellen Greenberg, 27 stab wounds in different areas of the body. Edit. 20 stab wounds. 27 was her age at the time of death. Thanks for correcting you /Kmart4165. What happened to Brian Schaffer? This happened in my hometown. This med student went to a bar with friends and then fully disappeared off the face of the earth. Edit. The podcast True Crime Garage has an incredible series on this case. The hosts are both from Columbus and around Brian's age. They talk through the whole case in depth, and they also have a few guests that they talk with as well. Who was Perseus? From 1943 to 1946, the Soviet Union had a high-level spy in the Manhattan Project. Codenamed Perseus, this spy was a scientist at the White Sands missile testing site in NM and the main research facilities in Los Alamos. Perseus saw pretty much the entire project start to finish, giving the Russians everything they needed to get to work on their own bomb. The fact that they were able to do so within 4 years of the end of WWII, when their nations were still devastated, is proof positive that Perseus helped a great deal. And to top it all off, Perseus was never caught or positively identified. There are a few that bug me. The Sodder children. Their house burned down in the middle of the night. Several of the kids were presumed dead, but their bodies were never found in the debris and it never burned hot enough to cremate them. It started to look extremely suspicious, and the parents, until their deaths, believed that they had been taken for some reason. Many years down the line they did receive a photo and cryptic note from someone claiming to be their son, but it was never authenticated. The boy in the box, a deceased little boy, found beaten, recently shaved of his hair, and abandoned in the box for a bassinet that he was way too old for. The photos and reconstructions of him released to the public in the desperate hope of identifying him are haunting. The St. Louis Jane Doe, a little girl found in an abandoned house, decapitated and bound at the hands. They have no dental records or facial reconstruction to go from. The case has led nowhere. She's just nameless, lost to time. Tree State Crematory, a devastating case of a man called back from his college football career to take over his father's business when the father fell ill. Over time people started noticing bodies and body parts on the grounds, just hanging around. When someone finally took the reports seriously, they found that he'd been piling bodies up randomly all over the property, often when it would have been much easier to cremate them instead of hauling them around to where they were dumped. The guy gave families canisters of cement dust instead of ashes. The mystery on this one is why. The guy never gave up the answer to what happened there and will only insist that there are no answers. His lawyer theorized he had mercury poisoning from cremating amalgam fillings, but that doesn't really explain why you would dump a body instead of cremating it when the latter takes less effort. The West Memphis 3 case. All of the satanic panic mess obscured so much that will probably go unanswered now. A bloody man covered in mud stumbled into a Bojangles the night those little boys went missing. Cops barely investigated that incident and lost the blood evidence they did collect regarding it. What was going on with John Mark Byers and Terry Hobbs, two dads of two of those kids, both turning up with evidence and acting at different points like they may have been involved? Where the ever-living crap is all the severed human feet coming from? Lars Mittank, a German tourist on vacation in Bulgaria, he got into a fight and the medical complications kept him from going home on a flight with his friends. Staying behind, it looks like his mental state unraveled completely over the course of a few days, increasing paranoia, eventually culminating in his complete disappearance into a field of sunflowers. The Hinterkaifeck murders, super creepy, and the fact that there was evidence the murderers were in the house watching the family for a while before killing them just totally freaks me out. Edit. Thanks for the silver. First time award recipient here. And gold too. Happy almost cake day to me. What on earth happened to the Trump family? So it's this Australian family who owned a berry farm. Somehow Mr. and Mrs. Trump and their 3 grown kids developed the belief that they weren't safe and they needed to flee their farm without cell phones or anything traceable, credit cards, etc. It sounds like the oldest son wasn't sold on whatever it was that led them to flee. He brought his phone, but eventually it got tossed from the car. He ended up bailing first and taking a train home. From there the rest of the family slowly separated and suffered various degrees of emotional breaks. The 2 girls stole a car. Somehow they got separated and one made it home, but the other was found on the floor in the backseat of some guy's car in a catatonic state. He spotted her after he started down the road. Eventually, the parents were found wandering around aimlessly. Fortunately, they were all okay physically, but WTF happened? Was someone actually after them? Were they delusional? As far as I know, the family hasn't released any updates. An unknown group of people broke into an FBI building, and no one has found out who they are. But the best part of the story is, they did it by leaving a sticky note that said, "Do not lock the door tonight," and it worked. Edit. To everyone asking how they left the note, they just stuck the note to the front door. Probably should specified. Edit 2. I'm an approved member of r/what's the rule now. Edit 3. I know it's been solved. I heard about it 8 years ago and never learned that it was solved. Which of the 3 astronauts aboard Apollo 10 was responsible for the floating turd? The Khan-Kalab Pass in Ladakh. This region lies in the disputed border of India and China and is truly the most inaccessible places in the world. In 1962, the armies of both countries were engaged in a severe conflict. After this, both China and India entered into an agreement according to which none will be allowed to patrol the region, but can keep an eye on it from a distance. After this, a popular belief floated that the Khan-Kalab Pass in Ladakh is a hideous base of UFOs. The area has forever remained a no man's land due to its territorial limits, and is a reason why the UFOs have chosen it as their operational base. Reportedly, many have seen these UFOs and both the Indian and Chinese governments are aware of these developments. In 2006, Google Maps 2 baffled the world with some images that looked like military facilities, but till date the whole issue remains mysterious and unexplainable. In 1977 we received a radio signal from outer space that lasted about 72 seconds. To this day, we still do not know where it originated from. As someone from Chicago who loves /r/unresolved mysteries, I would say the maximum headroom broadcast signal intrusion, and I don't think we will ever find out who was behind it. It's been over 30 years, and we still have no idea who was behind that incredibly bizarre hijack. There was a thread a while ago of someone that thought they had figured it out that seemed very possible, but it was updated, and they were ruled out as suspects. Here is the infamous video for those that have never seen it.
The old ones of your tribe. That is the only way to learn.
I'll get you a hot drink, miss.
I've done some dry clothing.
He's a freaking nerd. Checks worse than Jesus.
Thank you for watching. Tell me which one was your favorite. Like, subscribe and hit that notification bell for more. The next video will be even more interesting. You are a legend.